boys and girls, or afternoon or evening, whatever time it is where you are. I'm glad to see you again today. Do you know, at church we have Sunday school in person, so whenever your parents feel like it's time, you are welcome to join us. We try to stay far apart and we do wear masks in the church house, but you're welcome to join us if your parents are ready. Either place, we go to Sunday school. We're learning the same lessons, and we're continuing with the curriculum we started in the fall, where we learned something about God and then something about us. Last week we learned that God is kind, and because we're made in His image, that means we are kind. Does that mean we're always kind? No, because sin. But it does mean that when we're kind, it's the Holy Spirit working in us to help us be how God made us to be. And we feel so good when we're acting the way God made us to act, when we're doing the things God made us to do, when we're living the way God made us to live. Today, here's what we're learning. Today, we're learning that God is our provider, and what does that tell us? We depend on Him. God is our provider, and we depend on Him. Now, this may seem like a strange question, but I want you to think about the strangest bird you've ever seen. Maybe you saw a flamingo with his knees bent up, or one knee bent up. Maybe it was a parrot and he could say something really funny. Have you ever seen a lady redbird in your backyard? We have one who lives here, and you only know she's a cardinal because she's got a little bit of red and a lot of brown on her. Have you seen a western meadowlark? That's our state bird here in Kansas, isn't it? What's the strangest bird you've ever seen? Now, can you imagine if that bird, or even a normal old bird, ever brought you lunch? That would be so strange. That's what happened in our Bible story today. Our Bible story is from the Bible, God's Word. It's absolutely true. It really happened. And our Bible story today is about a time when the prophet Elijah was hungry. He didn't know where his next meal was going to come from. Have you ever felt hungry? God provided, because He always gives us everything we need. And in this case, what Elijah needed was a meal. And God sent it to him by way of some ravens. Ravens are black birds. They're not all that pretty. Black birds brought him lunch. Now, Elijah didn't have food. And here's why. Let's read in 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. Now Elijah the Tishbite of Tishbe in Gilead said to Ahab, As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, before whom I stand, there shall be neither dew nor rain these years, except by my word. What are some bad things that happen when there's no rain? Can you think of some things? Plants need rain to live. So farmers have a hard time with their crops if there's no rain. If farmers can't grow crops, then people can't get the food they need. Animals can't get the food they need. And some animals, like cattle, if they don't get the food they need, humans don't get the food, right? People start getting hungry. Things start dying. People get hungry. Sometimes people die when there's not enough rain. No rain and no water meant no food. God was giving King Ahab a very hard time, but Elijah lived there too, and he loved God. That meant no water, no food for Elijah. But God is our provider, and He had promised Elijah that He'd give him everything he needed, so He did. Let's read 1 Kings 17 now, verses 2 through 4. And the word of the Lord came to him, Depart from here, and turn eastward, and hide yourself by the brook Cherith, which is east of the Jordan. You shall drink from the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. Elijah had to depend on God and go wherever God said to go. Let's read verses 5 and 6.
So he went and did according to the word of the Lord. He went and lived by the brook Cherith that is east of the Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook.
What's surprising about the way God provided for Elijah? I would not have imagined that God would have sent him food by way of birds. Except, way back there when the people were wandering around in Egypt, I remember something about birds and food. Do you remember that? Quail. God sent his people food by way of quail. Now, did the quail carry the food in their beaks? No. The quail were the food. The people cooked and ate the quail. In this case, Elijah does not eat the ravens. They bring him food in their beaks. Really interesting. Can you think of some ways that God provides for you? God probably didn't go to Walmart for you or Checkers or Dillon's and buy the groceries and bring them and put them in your refrigerator, freezer, pantry. Probably mom or dad did that. But who gave mom or dad the money? Their bosses, or the bank. And where did their bosses get the money? From their jobs. Guess what? God created the jobs and gave the money that let your parents buy the food. And where did the grocery store get the food? From farmers. And where did the farmers get the food? From their fields. And who made the fields? God did. God put the nutrients in the field. God made the plants grow. God gave the farmers the wisdom to harvest as they needed to. All things were created by God. All that you have is provided by God. If you're a big kid, now's a great chance for a fun activity. You'll need some index cards or maybe Post-it notes, some kind of little pieces of paper. And I want you to first of all think maybe of 3 things that you have, that you love or that you need or that you see around you. 3 things that you have. And I want you to take one of them and write it on your Post-it note and stick it on the wall. Now think of where that came from. Target. Write on a Post-it note, stick it on the wall. And then I want you to think of how you got the money to go to Target from mom. How did mom get the money? From work. How did she get a job? God provided it for her. How did she know how to do that job? God taught her how to do that job. I want you to pick 3 things that you have around you, and I want you to make a trail of how that thing was provided by God. Now, if you're talking about something you grew out in your back garden, it's going to be a short trail. How did you get that apple? From my apple tree. Who made the apple tree? God. That's a short trail. If it's a pair of tennis shoes, it might be a long trail. I got the tennis shoes from my cousin. My cousin got them from his mom. My mom got it from his mom got it from the store. And the store got it from the factory. And the factory got it from, I don't even know. If the shoes have cotton and rubber, then they got them from those farmers. And then how did those farmers grow the cotton or make the rubber? God made those plants. It's a long trail. So you might have a short chain or a long chain, depending on what thing it is you're talking about. And it might be harder, it might be easy. So maybe if you have more than one kiddo in your house, you want to do it together with your siblings or maybe with your family. Maybe you want to see how well you can do by yourself. Anyway, it could be pretty interesting. You could do Post-it notes and stick it along the wall. That might be cool. You could do index cards. Lay them out in a tray on the floor. You can hang them up on a clothesline. You could just write a long list and see how long your list gets. But all things, boys and girls, come from God, directly or indirectly. Not very often these days do we see God's hand like sending us something in the beak of a raven and dropping it at our door, and then his voice tells us where it's from. That doesn't happen to us, really. Not that it couldn't. God could certainly do that. But he does provide all things, and they all come from him. You should talk to your grown-ups, maybe even some missionaries. You talk to me, Pastor Bell, Miss Lindsay. I know lots of people at church, and I'm sure your family too, who have stories of how God has provided for them in unexpected ways. Let's see. I can just pick one to tell you. Only one way to tell you that God provided? That's the hardest part, is only telling you one. I'll tell you one about our daughter Shayla. She's in college. When she first came here, we had to get ready for her to go to school, and because she's Haitian, she has to get special paperwork, and it was best to send her to a private school in town. Well, since it's a private school, that means it's going to cost some money. And so we started selling fireworks over July 4th in the summer. And we sold fireworks. And we just thought, we're going to work as hard as we can. God gave us this opportunity because a friend told us, hey, this family I know that sells fireworks all over the place, they need someone to run this stand in Lawrence. And we're like, what? That's perfect timing. So God gave us that job. We worked the best we could. And after the 5 days that you can sell fireworks, we got our paycheck. We got home. The amount of money on the paycheck was about $3 different than something in the mail. It was the bill for Shayla's next semester at school. It was just the right amount of money. And that was like God saying, don't forget, this is from me. I provided for you. God provides for us every day. I wouldn't have a shirt. I wouldn't have air to breathe. I wouldn't have a computer to talk to if it weren't for God. Every once in a while, He does something, and it's so clear. This is from God. Like that day when we got a paycheck from work and we got a bill in our mail on the same day, and they were for the same amount of money within about $3 or $4. And it was a few $1,000s of a bill. Same amount of money. God said, look what I can do. Don't need to worry about where things come from. When I lead you, I provide.
This is the Scandrett family. Mom, Dad, Lauren, Deacon, Grayson, Hudson, Christian, Benjamin, and Marin. Benjamin, Hudson, and Deacon were born in Ukraine. That's a country far, far away. They lived in an orphanage with lots of other kids who didn't have moms or dads. They prayed to God to give them a mom and dad so they could be part of a family.
One night I was praying that we would get a family, and 2 weeks after we had a visit, and then I was excited and I was ready. I knew that God provided a family for us.
Mom and Dad visited the Ukraine because they were looking for another little boy to join their family. Instead, they found Benjamin, Hudson, and Deacon.
I really felt like God had given me a clear picture of Deacon's face. And so when we get to Ukraine and we see all these kids and right there's Deacon, I knew that's what we're supposed to do.
The only thing that could have explained that is that God's intention was for us to get them ahead of time.
We were looking, and we were waiting.
Mom and Dad came, and we knew that somebody wanted to adopt us, so then we came into the room and we had our smiles on.
I just thought they were adorable. The minute I saw them.
And I kind of knew that minute they kind of wanted to adopt us, but I wasn't sure if they would take 3 of us. So I was kind of worried about that.
You had to get all of us. You couldn't just get one of us. We were all 3 brothers, then we had to go.
They came as a set.
It would be a big surprise to the family that they would adopt not one boy, but 3 brothers.
I remember the day they came home, it was super late. I don't know what we do with these new boys. What are we supposed to I don't know, what do we do with them? So I just went up and gave him a hug, and then it was all good.
Deacon loved the cat. Marin and Ben were best friends.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know what Hudson did.
I don't know, Hudson was asleep on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're part of our family. It's not like there's a difference between us and them. It seems like we've always been a family.
Mornings are very busy at the Scandrett home. Everyone helps out around the house. Benjamin loads the dishwasher while Hudson makes coffee for Mom and Dad. The Scandretts have a lot of animals. A cat, a dog named Sam, and a canary. They have chickens, too. The chickens provide eggs for the family to eat. Deacon likes to work in the garden, which provides fresh vegetables for his family.
And the strawberries. In the future, I might want to become a farmer.
The boys love their new big family. They have lots of brothers and sisters to play with, just like at the orphanage. But more importantly, God provided them with a mom and dad to love them and a house to call home.
Amen. I love it. Like, it's always loud here, and there's always people everywhere. God has definitely provided for our family by bringing these boys. We get along and we have fun, and that's just how our life works, and it's great.
Boys and girls, think about how God's provided for you and tell others. God is our provider, so we depend on Him. All the hard work I could ever do isn't going to give me what I need. It's God at work who provides for me. Tell other people how good He is, how much He loves you, how well He takes care of you, so they can know and love Him too. Here is a fun game.
All right, for this game, you're going to need to go get some long length of yarn, a binder clip or a big paper clip will do, some scissors, and some thumbtacks. Now, go stick a thumbtack up high in a wall, as high as you can reach. I put it at the top of our stairs, but if you don't have stairs, that's fine too. And then tie your yarn around the end of it. Now, stretch the yarn down to a low spot on the other side of the room. We went all the way down the stairs, but again, you just go across the room. Down at the bottom, put a thumbtack down low, and then cut the yarn to the right length. Tie a little loop in the end, and before you stick the yarn onto that thumbtack, you need to put it through your large paper clip or the binder clip, the handle parts up there. See the little silver handle parts right there? Stick it through there, and then attach your yarn to that really low thumbtack. Alrighty, and now your stuff zip line is ready to go. Now, I asked Sammy to please draw me pictures of ravens and food, and he says, "Huh?" And I said, "Ravens and food. Draw me pictures and send them up, but you can't move your bottom. You have to stay where you are. Come on, get going." And he says, "I don't have anything to draw with." And I say, "Oh, I'm going to send this down to you, the cards and the pens, and then you can draw ravens and food." Dun da da da! He caught 'em! Let's see that again. Down they go, and he catches them. That's a pretty fun delivery method. Maybe not quite as fun as a hot lunch in a bird's beak, but pretty cool nonetheless.
Hey guys, remember to thank God for all the ways He's provided for you. And then tell others. God provided for me. I depend on Him. Do you want to hear some stories about how He's provided? That's how easy it is. Now go and do it this week. I hope to see you soon. Bye.